everyone, how are you? Hope you've had a lovely week. We've come to almost the end of September. It's been an interesting month. The kids have gone back to school. We're beginning to get used to another routine, and also not just getting another routine, we've also probably come into another set of restrictions for those of us in the United Kingdom. But in all of these things, we can only dwell and think of the things that we can control. Sometimes if you think about the whole picture, it just makes it a bit difficult, and the best thing sometimes to do is just look at the things right in front of you and take it one day at a time. So I hope you're all keeping safe, you're all trying to do that, take each day at a time, and generally just look for ways to create joy. Just look for something that makes you happy and just do it. If it's dancing, if it's singing, something, reading, whatever it is, just look for something to make you happy. So let me stop rambling and then go into my review of the week. So my review this week is from a book that I think I've actually done a written review of this on my page, but I thought let me do a video of it and let me do a reading of it because it's a very funny book. It's Elnathan John's Becoming Nigerian. So it's a satirical piece of work by Elnathan John about what it means to be Nigerian, and there are a lot of parts of it, and that's what satire is supposed to do. Satire is meant to provoke you. It's meant to amuse you sometimes, but it's also meant to provoke you. There's something at the beginning of the book where he says, never explain satire. If you have to explain satire, there's no point. So it's a satirical piece of work about what it means to be Nigerian. And from every nationality in the world, there is something that distinctly makes you from that part of the world. So I'm in the UK, I'm British Nigerian, and there's certain things even from lived in the UK for a while now that are so British. There is a Twitter page I follow. It's something British, I can't remember what it is, but it really cracks me up because there's so many things that page brings about, so many comments, so many things that just reminds you of, yeah, that's definitely a British thing, that's definitely a British thing. And I think that's key for all nationalities, all ethnicities. There are quirks, there are things that are peculiar to a certain nation. But one thing I like about this book is that it's satire, as I said, allows you to think, it probes, and it also allows you to see what we can do to make things better. So there are parts of it that are very funny. When I read the book, I think I read it in about a day because it was so funny. But there are also things that made me stop and think. And there are things that I think we could actually do better about. And I'm going to be reading from that part of it. And it's something that we've also been discussing. So we're reading another book in one of the book clubs I coordinate, and there are themes there that are quite similar to what I'm going to read, the page and place I'm going to read for, and it's regarding how people treat domestic help. So I'm going to be reading from page 34 of the book, How to Own a Slave. And I'll read the way I normally read, and I'll tell you my thoughts about the book. It's going to be a slightly long reading, but I'll try to make it as short and snappy as possible. And it's from How to Own a Slave. The Nigerian God is faithful. He has blessed your hustle with a husband, with a God-fearing wife. We give him all the praise. As a Nigerian husband, your wife needs assistance. Look away and provide it. Do not ask too many questions. You work as your team. If you hear the girl screaming, do not intervene. Now step aside while I tell your wife how to do this properly. As a Nigerian wife, you began your wifely hustle by going out of your way to show your dutifulness. Things that will make him go online and thank God for blessing him. Things like cooking, cleaning, and never saying no to him. God will meet you at the point of your needs and bless you for this. However, something is happening to you. Tiredness is setting in. You feel nauseous and irritated. The doctor has told you that you're having a baby. You and your husband agree that you cannot keep up with the housework with this growing human in your tummy. It's time for a house help. Your husband has left you to take care of it. You have many choices. There is a choice of the young poor girls from the north who have been trained to walk like horses, want little and show gratitude for whatever they receive. The girl may have thinning brown hair from lack of nutrition and may look stunted at 12, but trust me, she knows how to fetch water, pile clothes, and sweep endlessly. So I'm going to skip a couple because it's quite long. I'll just read bits of it. Then there's the international connection. The kids from Togo or Benin Republic. Someone has told you of these young kids from Benin Republic whose salary you will pay to a man who will claim to be their uncle or cousin. Hardworking children with nowhere to go, nowhere to run. Perfect. Let me just say clearly that you do not need a person of legal age, an adult who will one day kill you all in your sleep, kidnap or bewitch your children, or worse, and God forbid, snatch your husband from you. Don't roll your eyes and say your husband would never do that. We all know how men are trash. You need a child. Anyone who quotes the Child's Right Act and calls employing anyone under the legal age child labor. God will give them paralysis of the mouth. How else do they want you to get the housework done without harassing your poor husband? You need to cut her hair. It is better. Both of you should not be struggling to groom your hair. You can't have her stealing your expensive hair products. Anything a small comb or brush cannot do must go. The more unattractive she looks, the better for you and your marriage. Like I said before, it is not your fault that men are trash. There is no need to waste money sending her to school. It is not your fault that her parents cannot afford to. In fact, she should be grateful that you are giving her a rare opportunity to come to the city and make some money. If she spends all her time at school, when will she do the housework? But if you absolutely have to, find a cheap school, maybe one with evening classes she can attend. Something simple that will confuse her about her station in life. Imagine taking her to a place where she learns about discombobulating ideas like human rights. God forbid. Discipline, very important. Sometimes screaming, degrading insults is not enough to put an ungrateful, sloppy house help in line. The phrase spare the rod and spoil the child includes the children who do your household chores and care for your family. Sometimes they get too comfortable. Sometimes they are possessed by demons. Only a healthy dose of caning, chaining, and starvation can rid them of evil spirits or too much comfort. Sometimes, no matter how hard you try, there comes a time when you must let the house help go. Such instances include when you notice that she has become a woman and is almost needing the same bright size as you. You need to be proactive and protect your husband from himself. Send her away and look for another prepubescent to take her place. So, Nigerian husband, like I said before, don't ask. As long as your children are being taken care of and the food is on the table and the house is clean, then everything is as God planned it to be. God bless. So I jumped about from that particular chapter. But basically what he's talking about is where people, there's a practice in Nigeria where people have what we call house helps. Basically, house help is a domestic help. You know, what it maybe in maybe Western societies you would call someone who's you'd have a cleaner, you'd have a nanny, you'd have an au pair or something like that. But what this is basically someone who does all of those roles. So the person is an au pair or a nanny, and the person is also a cleaner, and sometimes they're chefs, sometimes they do your laundry, and there's a lot. Basically, they do all of your housework. And this is a conversation that I know is a very tricky conversation, especially for people who live in Nigeria. And I totally understand it. I grew up in Nigeria. I know when I was growing up, we had house helps. But it is a topic that, for me, needs to be discussed at certain levels about the fact that people, number one, don't employ children of legal age. And there's always the argument of helping them, their parents are probably not able to give them, and I totally get that argument as well. But my point from this is this really the way, as Elnathan John, although he said it in a satirical way, is it really the way to show? Some people say they're doing it because they want to give that child a better life. They probably wouldn't have a better life with their parents. But I really question that. I really question it. Is it really the best way to go about it? If you really want to help a child, would it not be better for you to help that child with their parents? There's also the argument of sometimes their parents don't actually do the right thing for those children. It just begs a lot of questions, and it's something that especially if you're Nigerian and you're watching this and you live in Nigeria, or you probably at some point employ or are going to employ a house help. I just want you to think about how you're going to treat that child, especially if it's a child. I would probably, I don't like, one of the things I don't like doing is I don't like being prescriptive, but I would probably say, is hiring a child the best person to actually take care of your children? And even if you're going to hire a child, how are you treating that child? There are a lot of questions, and it's a topic that it's not something that I can actually finish in today's book review. But as I always say, there's one thing I always want to leave with people when I do these book reviews. If that child was your child, would you treat that child in the same way you're treating the child at the moment? Would you want anyone to treat your child that way? Because that child was born or into a family that's probably less privileged. Does that make them any less human? Does that make them not someone that you require human dignity? There are a lot of questions, but it's just one that I thought I would discuss because I actually read this book. So it's a really good book. It talks about quite a number of things, a lot of things that we need to probably think about and just be a bit open to maybe there are better ways or there are other things that we can do better. So that's my review today from Becoming Nigerian, and I just want to find out if I've convinced you to read the book. It's a really funny one. It's short as well. You can finish it in about a day if you're a very fast reader. So that's my review today. Let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts, and please do let me know in your comments. So thank you very much for watching as usual, and have a wonderful weekend and week ahead. Thank you. Bye bye.